Hi guys, welcome back to Read Aloud Friday. We're going to jump right into the next chapter of Save Me a Seat. And I'm going to actually read two chapters today because the first one is very short and then that'll take us into the second part of the chapter book. All right, so chapter 7 is titled Robbie. So remember, this is from Robbie's point of view. Later after my evening shower, Appa comes upstairs to say goodnight. I didn't even have a chance to ask you how your first day of school was, Robbie. Is it true what Parima says, that there are no other Indians in your class? I tell Appa the truth. There is one other, but he's an ABCD. What sort of fellow is he, Appa asks. Funny, I say, and popular. Tell him your IQ is 135 and that you were first batsman on your cricket team at Vidya Mandir. That should impress him well. I don't need to impress him, I say. He already wants to be my friend. There's no harm in showing off a little. You were top of your class at Vidya Mandir. Does your new friend know that? I don't tell Appa that it's Mrs. Beam, not Dylan, who needs convincing. If my parents find out that she suggested I need special help with my English, they will insist on coming to school to complain. When Amma comes in next to say goodnight, she tells me, I'm making vegetable biryani in the morning for you to take for your lunch with cinnamon sticks and coconut milk, just the way you like it. Thank you, Amma, I tell her, slipping the postcard I received from Premad a few weeks ago between the pages of Bud, Not Buddy, to save my place. Mrs. Beam only assigned us the first chapter, but I am liking the story very much, so I've read up to chapter 8. Don't forget to say your prayers, Raja, Amma reminds me. Then she kisses my forehead and turns out the light. My first day of school in America is over, and though it wasn't perfect, I did make a new friend. Not only that, thanks to Appa, I have an idea for how to fix things with Mrs. Beam. She told us that in the morning we will be starting with math, and that is going to change everything. All right, chapter 8, Joe. At 5 o'clock, Mom comes upstairs to tell me that dinner is almost ready. I made a meatloaf, she says. The recipe is from Bon Appetit, so it ought to be pretty good. My mom is a great cook, and even though I don't want to eat dinner with her, I'm so hungry now, I'm actually seeing stars. The phone rings and Mom goes to answer it. I hope it isn't Dad, checking in from the road. The last thing I need is for him to get involved in this whole thing between Mom and me. He'd probably just say what he always says. Man up, Joe. The whole house smells like meatloaf. I tried to ignore it, but I don't have the willpower to pass it up. I pick up my fork and start eating my dinner as fast as humanly possible. If I make sure my mouth is always full, Mom can't expect me to say anything to her. As soon as my plate is clean, I head to my room to read Bud, Not Buddy. Mrs. Beam told us to read the first chapter, but it was only 8 pages long, so I decided to keep going. I'm a pretty decent reader when I'm not distracted, plus the story is good. It's about this orphan kid named Bud Caldwell, and there's something about the way he talks that cracks me up. Like instead of saying all of a sudden, he says, whoop zoop sloop. I just love the way that sounds. Whoop zoop sloop. When Mrs. Beam wrote the assignment on the whiteboard, Dylan turned around in his seat and made a joke, calling it Pud, not Putty. Mrs. Beam didn't hear it, but Lucy Mulligan did, and she laughed so hard she almost fell out of her chair. Mrs. Beam gave us another assignment too, some corny personal collection project, whatever that is. She didn't write it on the whiteboard with the other homework. Instead, she just told us about it, which means now I can't remember anything she said. I tried to take notes, but she was talking really fast, and then they started mowing the grass under the windows, so the only thing I know is that the project is due on Friday. I wonder if Miss Frost forgot to talk to Mrs. Beam about me. I hear my mom coming up the stairs, so I quickly stash the book under my pillow, roll over on my side, and close my eyes. She knocks a couple of times, then she opens the door a crack. Joe, she whispers, honey, are you awake? Mia is curled up on the bed beside me. And when she sees my mom, she starts wagging her tail, thumping it against my leg like crazy. I lie there like a rock, but I guess Mom can tell I'm not really asleep. It won't happen again, Joey. No kisses, I promise. When she told me she'd applied for the job, I told her I thought it was a terrible idea. But she needed the work and Einstein needed a lunch monitor. So who cares if the only thing I actually used to like about school is ruined now? Nobody. That's who. You won't even know I'm there, she tells me. Yeah, right, I say. Then pull the pillow over my head. So Joe is not feeling good about his mom applying for the job at school in the cafeteria. So this brings us to part 2, which is Tuesday, hamburgers. So we will read that next time we meet for Read Aloud Friday. Remember to let me know your thoughts on our book so far in a Google Doc, and you can send me that through Google Classroom. I'd love to hear what you think of the book so far and if you have any comments or questions, and I'd be happy to respond. So hope everybody has a great Friday. Make sure to tune into Community Circle today and check it out, and have a great weekend. Bye, guys.